Hello children, good morning to everyone. Today we will see class 10 political science. Before I introduce with the chapter, I would ask you a question. If you take an example of a classroom situation wherein a teacher has assigned a project work to an individual as well as to a group, whom do you think would do the work better and more efficiently? Definitely a group. Why is it so? Because here in the group, the project work is shared among all the members of the group. So, every individual has his responsibility to execute the work properly. But does that mean an individual cannot do the work properly of the project? No. He will also execute his work, but it may not be more easily or efficiently like that of a group's work. Because though he may have all the power with him, but he may not be able to take care of every aspect of that project because he is all alone. Now from this example, what do we understand? We can understand here that a work can be accomplished easily and efficiently when the power or when the work is shared properly among all the individuals. And therefore, it is called as power sharing. What do you understand by the term power sharing? By the term power sharing, we understand that the power is in one's hand, in one's concentration. Now it has been divided or shared with someone else. Now here, when the power is shared with someone else, we may think that it may lead to weakening of the power or may lead to deteriorating the working condition. So, we may be under the impression that the concept of power sharing is not the right concept or it may not work out well. But in our chapter, Power Sharing of Class 10 Political Science, we will see how power sharing is beneficial for the society, for a democratic society. And also we will see how it strengthens the social and the political aspect of a country. First part, we will see what is power sharing. Little more in detail. We have seen what is power sharing through an example. We will see little more in terms of political aspect. Then we will see two stories of Belgium as well as Sri Lanka. Here stories related to a power sharing. We will have a small case study on that. Children, if you remember, last year in your class 9th, you had studied about democracy. That is, in a democratic country, all powers, they does not rest with any one organ of the government. It is an intelligent sharing of the power among the legislature, executive and judiciary, which is very important in designing a democracy. So here we are going to study by taking the example of two countries. Right? We are going to study about how democracy demands the power sharing. Clear? Now, power sharing is not only between the legislature, executive and the judiciary, but it also includes sharing at the different levels. That is union, which means a central government, a state, and also at the local government. In class 9, you have studied that a constitution of any democratic country is an important written document which provides a guideline to every citizen of a country. Therefore, it is very powerful. Further, the power is divided or shared with legislative, executive and judiciary. Now, if you take an example of India, legislature is further divided into Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Executives. Now, who are these executives? They are the representatives elected by the citizen of the country, which consists of, or we can say these representatives further they become the president, prime minister and the union ministers. Now, why are they said to be the representatives of the people in a democratic country? Because as they are elected by the people of the country, they are accountable to the citizen of the country or to the people of the country. Then the third one is judiciary. It has Supreme Court, the Supreme Court of every country. Children, now first we will see with Belgium. Belgium is a small country in Europe, smaller in area than the state of Haryana in India. It has borders with France, Luxembourg, Germany and Netherlands. It has a population maybe little more than 1 crore. That is about half the population of Haryana. The ethnic composition of this small country is very complex. Children, before we proceed, you should know what is meant by ethnic composition. Ethnic means a society divided based on the shared culture. That is, the people belonging to the same ethnic group believe in their common origin because of similarities of physical type or of culture, or sometimes maybe both. They need not always have the same religion or nationality. Of the country's total population, 59% lives in the Flemish region of Belgium and they speak Dutch language. It is simply referred as a Flanders. That is, it is on the northern part of Belgium. Another is 40% of Wallonia region, which speaks French language. It is to the south of Belgium. Although the traditional language of this region is Walloon, French is now the everyday language over there, and most of the population speak French language. It is known for its medieval towns, Renaissance era architecture and so on. Wallon region was the richest region when Belgium was founded because of the Industrial Revolution and its effects. Then you will see 1% of Germans in Belgium. In Brussels city, that is this part, the round part here. Can you see a small one? It is the city of Belgium, the capital city of Belgium. In that, 80% they speak French language, whereas only 20% of the population speak Dutch language. Can you see the difference now, children? In Flemish region, you found 59% of them speaking French, whereas in Brussels, 80% they speak French. Similarly, in Wallon, that is the south part of Belgium, 40% of them speak French language, whereas in Brussels, only 20% of them speak Dutch language. Now, can you see the difference in majority and minority? Now, where did we see the minority French-speaking people in Belgium? In Wallon region, right? But they were rich and powerful. Why were they rich and powerful? What was the reason behind their richness? It was the Industrial Revolution and its after effect, right? But this created a resent or a dislike by the Dutch-speaking majority of the people. Where did we see the majority Dutch-speaking people? In Flemish region, that is in the northern part of Belgium. Now, why were they disliking the French-speaking people? Because this community, they got the benefit of the economic development as well as education much later. As a result of which, it led to the tension between the Dutch-speaking and the French-speaking communities during 1950s and in 1960s. The tension between the two communities could be seen more in Brussels, because Brussels had a special kind of problem. The Dutch-speaking people constituted a majority in the country, right? Because of the Flemish region. But they were in minority in the capital, that is in Brussels. Now, let us compare the situation of Belgium with another country, that is Sri Lanka. If you see here, Sri Lanka is an island nation, just a few kilometers away from the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. Sri Lanka is also a small country. It has a population of 2 crore, which is almost the same as in Haryana. Like other nations in the South Asian region, Sri Lanka also has a diverse population. The major social groups are the Sinhala speakers, having 74%. Then the Tamil speakers are the 18%. That is 11% are the Sri Lankan Tamils and 7% are the Indian Tamils. Then they have 7% of the Christians, who consists of both Tamils as well as Sinhalas. And then the 1%, it is just the people migrated from the other countries. So the Indian Tamilians, they are also called as migrated Tamilians. We will see more in detail through the map of Sri Lanka. As we saw in the previous slide, the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka through the pie chart. And here in Sri Lanka or in Belgium, the ethnic composition is in terms of language. In the map here of Sri Lanka, 74% of the Sri Lankans are the Sinhalese speakers and 18% are the Tamil speakers. Now, further the Tamil speakers, they are divided into 11% as the Sri Lanka Tamilians and 7% are the Indian Tamilians. Now, 11% the Sri Lankan Tamilians are the natives of Sri Lanka, that is born and brought up in Sri Lanka, and 7% who are the Indian Tamilians are the ones when the British ruled our country, they wanted rubber plantation and tea plantation in Sri Lanka. Now for this purpose they wanted the labours. So what did they do? They started bringing the labours from the neighbouring country, and the neighbouring country of Sri Lanka is India, especially from the Tamil Nadu region. Now in that way they became the migrated Tamilians. The plantation labourers in Sri Lanka, later on their future generation also started working as a plantation labourers. So therefore we can say that this 7% are the Indian Tamilians as the forefathers who came and settled in Sri Lanka. Then the 7% are the Sri Lankan Christians. Now these Christians, they constituted both Sinhalese speakers as well as the Tamil speakers. So children, we can understand that the central part of Sri Lanka is maximum concentrated by the Sinhalese, the northern, the southern part and few parts here and there of Sri Lanka, they are concentrated by the Tamil speakers, that is by the Sri Lankan Tamilians and the Indian Tamilians, right? Which clearly tells us that the 3/4 part of Sri Lanka has Sinhalese and only 1/4 part of Sri Lanka consists of Tamil speakers. Now this shows a mixed composition of the Sri Lankan population. Now here this kind of distribution is based on the language composition. Now if we extend this composition based on the religion, then 7% of the population were the Christians who could speak Sinhalese as well as Tamil. So they had a mixed composition. But the majority of the population were the Sinhalese. So they followed Buddhism. Tamil speaking people were either Hindus or Muslims. Now from this we can see that in Sri Lanka they have diversity not only based on language but also based on religion. Maybe exactly like how we have in India. We have the diversity based on culture, diversity based on caste, religion and so on. So in this part of the chapter, we have seen the ethnic composition of Belgium and Sri Lanka as well. We have seen in Sri Lanka that diversity is not only in terms of language but also in terms of religion. The situation is exactly like India, wherein the diversity is there in terms of religion, language, culture, customs and so on. Now in this part of the chapter, we have seen the ethnic composition of both Belgium as well as Sri Lanka. Now the situation is that the majority of the population in terms of language and religion will start suppressing the minorities, which may further lead to the disputes, tensions in the country, no communal harmony civil war, divisions of the country, and so on. Similarly, in the situation of Belgium and Sri Lanka, with the diversity in the population, we have to see whether the people there will accept this diversity, leading to strengthening of the country, or will not accept this diversity, leading to the division of the country. Now, whatever we have done in this part of the chapter, we'll just have a small recap of it. We have tried to understand about the meaning of what is power sharing, why power sharing is important. Then we have understood two examples of the countries, that is Belgium and Sri Lanka. By taking these countries as an example, we have tried to understand about the ethnic distribution of these two countries, right children? Belgium and Sri Lanka. Now I am sharing with you the two YouTube links. The first one will tell you about the history of Belgium, and the second one is about the history of Sri Lanka. Children, it is only to add a little more knowledge about these countries to whatever we have tried to understand. We'll meet again in the next part of this chapter. Till then, take care.